Bigger, bolder, and safer than ever before. That's the promise Hyundai is making with this new generation Santa Fe 7-seat SUV. There's no denying that Hyundai needed to make a statement with this all-new model, and it's done exactly that. Just have a look at it. It's a bit like a double XL version of the Kona, and there's no mistaking this for a competitor car. This ain't no Kluger. You can make up your own mind as to whether you like the styling or not, but I'll tell you, in the metal, it looks fantastic.
Australian buyers will get their chance to see it for themselves sometime around mid-2018, and we can expect a similar lineup to before, with the exception of the petrol V6.
That means most Aussies will get the 2.2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine, which has been reworked in this new generation model. It's got AdBlue as well as a particulate filter and a new 8-speed automatic, plus Hyundai's H-Track variable all-wheel drive system.
The engine produces 144 kilowatts of power and 436 newton meters of torque, which is a little less than the outgoing model.
That's not the model we're driving today though. We're in the Korean market 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel. And I tell you what, if they offered this, it'd almost be enough for most people's needs. It's fairly punchy. But more than the punch, you'll notice the refinement. The 8-speed automatic in this car is really well sorted, and it's pretty quiet as well. The variable all-wheel drive system can distribute torque where it's needed. And that means that if the surface underneath the tyres is slippery and one of the wheels starts to slip, it'll fix it by adding traction where it can get it. So if the road surface below you is icy or wet, or if it's dirt, like a lot of Australian roads, then you should have good peace of mind. And as far as we know, every Santa Fe that we get in Australia will be all-wheel drive, which is a bonus. When it comes to driving dynamics, it's hard for us to make any sort of assessment based on the cars we're driving right now. Obviously the different engine, but it'll also have the Australian-specific ride and handling tune. That means different steering feel and different suspension settings. But if Hyundai's recent form is anything to go by, we should expect a nice, comfortable ride and light but accurate steering.
That's all well and good, but let me show you what makes the Santa Fe a real contender in the large SUV segment: its interior. The cabin has seen major styling changes, and like the outside, it looks a lot more premium. There's a 7-inch driver information screen that sits between these two little dials on the edge of the cluster, and to me that looks a little bit Honda-ish, which is interesting. Up top there's a head-up display, a proper one that doesn't flip up onto a plastic thing, it actually projects onto the windscreen, which is a first for Hyundai. And in the center console we've got an 8-inch touchscreen media system with sat-nav. That's probably going to be in the top 2 specs in Australia. The base spec will probably come with a 7-inch screen without nav. Every model will have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus there'll be a couple of USB points, maybe 2 in the back as well, and Bluetooth phone and audio streaming. And if you've got one of those phones that can charge wirelessly, this thing's got you covered. There's a Qi point right there. Not only is it much classier and more modern inside, it clearly looks more substantial from the outside too. It's bigger in almost every dimension, and the wheelbase has been stretched as well. What that all equates to is a roomier space. Not just by Hyundai's claim, I can tell you this is roomier than the previous generation model that I drove just a few weeks ago. There's still second row sliding seats, which is really handy so you can find your right position for yourself and those behind, or just for the luggage behind. And it's a thoughtful space as well, with plenty of storage options. There's cup holders in the fold down armrest, there's bottle holders in the doors, and map pockets as well. And if you have kids, that's important. There are also ISOFIX points in both of the outboard seats and 3 top tether points as well. The back seats won't have child seat anchor points. But there are rear air vents, which is a big bonus for long trips, and there's even vents in the back row. Speaking of the back row, let's have a look. Now, I'm 6 foot tall, and in the previous generation model, I didn't fit in the third row very comfortably, but in this version, things are more comfortable. I've got more knee room, a little bit more headroom, but toe room still a little bit tight. The best bit though is that the windows are now 41% bigger, so you can see more when you are back here. The third row isn't just more spacious, the boot is bigger too. With 7 seats up, it's still negligible, but with 5 seats in place, you've got 625 litres of space at your disposal, which is 40 litres more than the outgoing version. And yep, there's still a full-size alloy spare under the boot floor. What about safety? Every model in the range comes with a comprehensive suite of safety technologies, including AEB with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist with steering intervention, a reversing camera, and parking sensors. There are new safety systems too. Imagine I'm a fluffy little dog or even a little child and my parent or my owner has left me in the car. They've got other things on their mind, they've just gone into the shops, forgotten all about me. The car will warn them that they've done that or they're about to do that. There's a warning that'll come up on the driver information screen to tell them, hey, you've got someone still back there, but also it'll honk the horn and flash the lights if they still fail to pay attention. That could be a lifesaver in a hot climate like Australia. There's another new system called Safety Exit Assist, which uses radars at the back of the car to see if there's anything coming from behind. If it sees something like a car or a cyclist, it'll lock the doors and stop you from getting out into the path of that oncoming traffic. Hyundai says this new generation model has curtain airbags that stretch to all 3 rows, which the previous model didn't have. And full pricing and specifications are still to be confirmed, but Hyundai really hasn't set a foot wrong when it comes to offering great value for money. I can't wait to see what the Australian steering and suspension tune does for the new generation Santa Fe. I think it's already pretty impressive and it could be even better as a result. Stay tuned, we'll have more on the Santa Fe coming soon.